A few days ago, I did a video that was talking about don't become a nurse in the purse or don't become a hospice care wife. And this woman weighed in on how she got pregnant by this man who was in his late 20s who had some terminal illness and basically died when their child was like 4 to 6 weeks old. The women that send in these story times as cautionary tales already know and understand that they have made mistakes. Many of them own up to their mistakes. So it is quite disconcerting that so many women rush in and need to let them know how dumb they are in so many different ways. She already knows that she made mistakes. That's the reason why she went from being pro life to pro choice. And that's sometimes it does take touching the stove to make people change their perspective. When people, the commoners, use the word accountability, most times it's like, what do you expect to be as far as accountability? Do you think that we should just continue to dump on the person that already knows that they've made mistakes and continue to dump on them? I just need to know what your definition of taking accountability is. Because, like, this person, she's like, wait, I'm confused. So she had a baby with a man she knew was a hobo this whole time. And I was like, yes, she was on birth control. He sabotaged it. She was pro life at that point. And she said that in the story that he admitted that he sabotaged her birth control. I believe that many of the women that weigh in need to have that couldn't be me mean girl spirit about them, as they are like letting other people know that they wouldn't make those mistakes. And that's good for you for not making that mistake. But like I said, this woman was saying that she wanted other women to learn from her mistake. Bada Kumba says, that's so sad. These pro-lifers are really out here playing themselves. But y'all need to also understand that many of these pro-lifers were born and raised in these conservative churches. So it is in their genes. They are literally programmed this way. So they're literally reacting and living and behaving, embodying these pro-life beliefs. That's the reason why I say they have to touch the stove in order to have a change of view. Sometimes you have to let people live and learn. I know that it sucks, especially for us pro-life people, that people don't automatically come to our side, but some people have to live through some things before they understand why all of these procedures are available to some people. The woman responded, Denver Love responded saying, I kept my daughter because it was easier to love her than to terminate the pregnancy. My father was a leader in the church and had top stories about men not having a choice when it came to smorgasbord. She says, I am pro-smorgasbord now because I now understand how a woman could hate and mistreat a child. It took a lot of work for my anger and bitterness to subside. I also had negative physical reactions to her touching me. Breastfeeding was really hard. I can say today that I love her with all my heart and soul. I hug and kiss her regularly. I just know not every human could or would do the work. It was hard. I also know that some humans are not capable of letting those negative emotions go. When I see angry or bitter mothers with older children, I'm filled with compassion. Before, I was super judgmental. Having a child is so much more than carrying for 9 months. This woman says, I don't even understand this. Why was she even seeing this dude? Also, whatever happened to Planned Parenthood and their services? I'm so tired of hearing stories from lackluster women. And this commenter had also made some other comments basically calling her dumb. And when I make these story times, I make them with the expectation that these are cautionary tales. Obviously, this woman says she's made mistakes. So I told this person, I deleted your other comments. You basically calling this woman dumb. It is a cautionary tale, and she's already admitted to her mistakes. So I just want to let y'all know and reiterate that if you do comment on my post where these women are being vulnerable, I'm not going to allow you to call them stupid or any iteration. If I see the comments, I'm going to delete them because they don't help move along the conversation, especially when they have admitted to understanding where they zigged when they should have zagged. Denver Love did weigh in on why she was messing with this man. She says, I wanted sex is why I started seeing him. Nothing more. You can, in fact, like someone that you grow to hate. There was a time I was like you. Life will humble you, especially when you think you know better. I am not unintelligent. I am human. I was horny. I paid a high price for great sex. Please know and understand that sometimes people can make mistakes. And what happens on the back end, they have to just clean up those mistakes. They do not have to live in those mistakes. And accountability is not continuing to smush their faces with these mistakes. It is letting people make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, and maybe even teach people how to not make those same mistakes. All right, y'all let me know what you think about this one. A few days ago, I made a video saying, don't become a hospice care wife. And under that video, there were several comments from women who had experience dealing with a man who knew that he had diseases or knew that he was sick, who was looking for a relationship. And I want to read some of the comments. This one was a very good comment. Continuous self-improvement says, the way I see it, there are many embodiments of how you become a hospice care wife. Number one, he has kids and you have none. You know these single dads are always looking to shove off their parenting duties on childless women. Number two, you become his medical assistant. Guys don't take care of their health and had to be nagged by their wives or girlfriends to go see a doctor, take their meds, etc. And if he gets sick enough, you have to be his nurse and his purse. Number three, you take care of their ailing old relative. They want you to be an unpaid leave-in nurse to their grandma while having to bring in 50% of the bills. Even if they pay all the bills, it's still unfair that you're expected to take care of their relative. Number four, you randomly become the medical assistant of your male acquaintance, women as coworkers, friends, relatives, often to point out, hey, Gary, you might need to get that checked out by a physician, and later on get trauma dumped by men about their health complaints. She says, all together now, ladies, nuh-uh, get someone else to do it. Get someone else to do it. Remind people that you are not getting paid for this. Stop doing unpaid labor for these people who do not take care of themselves. Make them be responsible for their own physical health. The Princess Breast says, number three, yes, I see that so much, and I have to say I never thought twice about it until I started watching this channel. It's so commonplace for daughter-in-laws to look after their husband's ailing family, or for brothers to expect their sisters to do the bulk of the caretaking when their parents get old. So I just wanted to put that out there, that that is how some of these women can get roped in. Eyes Open, Legs Closed says, some men are casket ready at 45. If you want to date an older man, just living apart together, LAT, just live apart together and enjoy his company outside the home. If you really want to marry, get him a full health and financial checkup, a prenup, and a will. So basically, and just go for a run, go for a hike, do all of those things to make sure that the heart is working, that the lungs are beating how they're supposed to beat. Henrietta says, this past June 2nd marks 2 years since I moved out of my abusive bio dad's mobile home into my own apartment. When I called my sister several weeks ago, she told me that dad has people to take care of him. Since I've been on my own, I've had time to focus on my mental health and physical health. My dad is one of the most saddest, angriest, and confrontational men I've ever met, and a very poor example of how a black man carries himself. I've gone no contact with dad, and I can't imagine even ever talking to him again. I feel fine with that. I feel no stress or hassles. I can do what I want when I want. When I go to sleep, I don't worry about what tomorrow is going to be like. For the first time in my 63 years, I'm protecting my peace. And this is something that no one will take from me. Chances are very, very high that my abusive bio dad will die alone. I won't be there to see it, and neither will my family. Rashida's Wife School says, my son is a doctor. As we all know, men will spend their money on a pair of new rims or any silly thing before seeing a doctor without a wife making an appointment. That is nothing new. And since more of them are single than ever, doctors aren't seeing even reluctant male patients anymore. But my son says that the new real problem is commercials that advertise online appointments for boner tabs. There are many serious reasons why a man may have ED: diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate problems, etc. All can be life threatening. ED is often a last chance sign to turn things around. It has to do with the blood flow down there. And if the blood ain't flowing for some reason because it's stuck or just not pumping, something like maybe the heart is having issues pumping that blood around. Maybe it's too heavy because of all that cholesterol or alcohol going through the blood. But there is a reason for ED. Whew. Let's be civil, shall we, says, that was my brother. I had to almost force him to go to the hospital when he was clearly sick and unable to take care of himself, but was fine with imposing on me and my family to take care of him until I put my foot down. Got him to the hospital. Untreated flu and kidney failure got him admitted. Fast forward 6 weeks, he gets out of the hospital diagnosed with severe high blood pressure, was 167 over 140 in the ER, congestive heart failure. They'd managed to reverse his kidney failure, but they were damaged, and severe hip and knee arthritis that would eventually require replacements. He was told to stop smoking and drinking because the next drink could kill him or land him on dialysis, change his diet, and take his meds. 30 days later, at first primary doctor's visit ever, and he's only taken the blood pressure meds I browbeat him in person to take, and none of the other meds. Literally ate fried chicken every single day. End of the visit, the doctor reiterates how important it is to do what she says to do and asks if he has any questions. His only question was, could she give him a prescription for Viagra? These dudes be having a diet of Hennessy and hot wings, and they just cannot see themselves even putting that down to make their thing work properly. I don't know. Nocturnal Miss So says, I dated a man in his 50s when I was in my 30s. We broke up, but it was amicable. About 10 years later, when I was in my 40s and he was in his 60s, he contacted me out of the blue, telling me he never stopped thinking of me, still loved me, etc. I politely told him I wasn't interested, and he actually got mad. So much for all his love. Dodged an old man bullet. Many of these people belong in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House. The quicker you ladies really know and understand what is going on, because they are not taking care of themselves, especially if they don't have a woman in the home. They're not taking care of themselves. And so once they hit this age where they're starting to feel all of these diseases and illnesses, they got to find someone real quick to shack up with. Please keep that in mind. He never forsakes me says, last guy I dated 2 years ago only lasted 90 days. All he did was complain about his blood sugar levels while eating chocolate because he was diabetic and had cardiac issues. And he wanted me to listen to his trauma dumping all the time, all the while messaging other women in my home on his laptop. He had to go. I got tired of it. He was 56. Never again. This person says, hospice care wife, 10 out of 10, would not recommend. Pigeonist says, that is why these videos are so important. Women have to be warned. That's what I'm doing. I'm sounding the alarm. Claire's Along says, Old Man Mojo Dojo Casa House is exactly where my dad is living. I don't feel bad. He reaped what he sowed. Told my sisters and I that he would have had a relationship with us if we were boys. That would have been different according to him. Therefore, he's living at exactly where he should be living, at the Old Man Mojo Dojo Casa House. That is where they belong. Let them live in the bed that they've set up. Let them live the life that they set up. Brith Vampire says, my dad is like this. When my mom and him separated in 2011, he always told me he's running out of time and would complain about how he needs someone to take care of him and be there for him. I was 19 at the time. I'm like, then how come you always push mom and me away when we try to help you? I hate my dad so much for just not caring about us and just seeing us as mistakes, especially me since I'm his only child and being a young woman isn't what he wanted. He eventually got married to someone in 2020, and needless to say, he hates her because she's a hoarder, but he expects her to take care of him. This is just a few of the comments. Every time I make a post about don't become a nurse in a purse or don't become a hospice care wife, these comments flood in. These conversations are so necessary because you need to see these men coming. When they come, they start love bombing you. They start seeing marriage in your future real quick. You need to wait them out. Wait them out, especially if you are of the age of, you're past having babies. You don't want babies. Do not rush anything with these men. Do not let them move into your house. Do not offer them a couch to crash on. No, none of that. No, no nest for these pests to rest in. None. All right, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.